So full disclosure, it's currently raining and will be for like the next 3 days, so I'm very low energy, and I apologize in advance. I think nothing really makes it more clear than just looking at the very definitions of socialism versus communism versus capitalism, particularly socialism in this case because it's the one you mentioned. But as you can see, it advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Whereas in capitalism, the trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. So in terms of humans taking care of each other, like you had mentioned, I can already see the one that's going to be more cohesive to that. And it's not capitalism. You went on to mention that subjugating people into certain groups, whether it be socialist, capitalist, what have you, how that is a problem. That's already done under capitalism. You got the upper class, you got the lower class, you've got cishet white men, and you've got everyone that's below them. The hierarchy is what most anarchists have an issue with, because hierarchies lead to violence. And capitalists prefer it this way because it encourages infighting. Leaving the working class with only what they need to survive has also been proven not to work. Productivity will suffer for humans. A social pack animal, if their need for some kind of enjoyment is also not met. And everything you were talking about in your video amounts to physical health, but it doesn't even begin to touch on mental health. And your argument that we're all one species, it contradicts with your argument in favor of the individualism, which is it's nobody's job to help you. So which is it that you believe? And how does capitalism in any way encourage any kind of cooperation or functioning, as you mentioned? Because even the best-intentioned capitalism amounts to competitive nature and private ownership. Beyond that, what you listed as common sense for what's needed only applies to able-bodied, neurotypical, non-marginalized people. You said a need is something you need to survive, to be here. Housing, food, healthcare, everything else is a luxury. You also kind of brush past the fact that people need things at the end of the day to get to their job. That's a pretty big issue that currently exists. So, you mentioned everything that I had talked about requiring someone else's labor, and that's just not the case if you seize the means of production. You therefore have the knowledge and the tools. And measuring equivalent exchange for trade does not require capitalism at all. Capitalism thrives on exploitation, which is not based on people's needs, it's based off of what economists predict that people are going to want. We wouldn't need a factory if that wasn't the case. And we'd actually get to decide the trade value. Volunteer firefighters are a good example. They do what they do for no money, and in fact would probably do it more if they didn't also have to have another job for money.